2020 is based on recommendations of Drafting Policy Committee headed by Mr. Krishna Swamy Kasturirangan. It has been hailed as revolution in education. It includes host of changes like 5+3+3+4 structure, flexible examination system, vocational education at early ages and many more. To have more insights on NEP, today we are joined by renowned educationist Ms. Aarti Dagar ma'am, who is currently the principal of Vidya Antariksha School. I heartily welcome you ma'am, and it's a thing of great pride for us to have you as today's
Thank you so much. It is a privilege for me also to be with you and talking on such an important issue, National Education Policy 2020. Thank you for having me.
Okay, ma'am. We would like to begin with very basic question. What is the need for National Education Policy 2020?
As you know, this policy has come after long 34 years. We've been changing in everything except education. We've not been changing as it was required. The pace of change was not as good. It has come after 34 years. In between, there were some changes, but they were only minor changes and some kind of facelift changes, but the framework had not changed. This has changed now in this policy, and I'm happy to have this policy. As an educator, I feel it's going to be a milestone for the educationists as well as for the whole country.
Okay, ma'am. Now it's inevitable to ask you, what key does NEP hold for the challenges posed by present education system?
Okay, it covers many areas, but I would like to name a few of them because, you know, covering this in this short slot of time, all the things is not very possible. So first thing that I would like to say is the flexibility it offers, which was missing earlier. Now the flexibility is that you can choose any subject that you want, and that basic like segmentation is out, and we have more flexibility of the subjects. 5+3+3+4 system is again a welcome change that I would say, because it is now going to focus on what are the students expected to do in which particular schooling or the phase of schooling. So that will be defined now. It also covers the elementary education now more vividly. And one more thing it focuses on is numeracy and literacy, which has been a problem for India for a long time. And I'm happy if it can really address the core issue of rote learning and shifting it to kind of understanding and conceptual based learning. If it can really work on that, I'll be the happiest person.
Indeed, ma'am, you have touched varied aspects of NEP. In the present scenario, where everyone, whether willingly or unwillingly, has to become part of mad race of becoming anglicized. Yes. So how do you see this element of vernacular language at early stage in this NEP?
Yeah, all my experiences in the education have had a variety of, like, you know, backgrounds. I was in Bangalore, I was in Jaipur, and I've gone through various systems. I've gone through in my PhD also, I've gone through different types of curriculums that we have. And my output is that the child learns best in the vernacular or in the mother tongue or the languages frequently using at home. This is my personal perspective. But one thing that NEP did not address for me, because it has given only the basic framework. It still has to give the regulations right now. Maybe it comes in that phase. I'm happy that they've said that mother tongue is going to be the basic language for medium of instruction. But how are they going to address the problems where parents are going to transfer, like if the child is studying in Kerala and the father gets transferred to Pune, how is that problem going to be solved? Second, I also have a question mark, not exactly a question mark, I'm still waiting for that. What comes from the stakeholders who are designing it? How are we going to address the metropolitan language learning, medium of instruction in the metropolitans, because all variety of people are there. So what will be the medium of instruction there? But I'm happy that this initiative has come. This is really going to make wonderful difference if it is implemented properly.
Indeed, ma'am, very genuine issues are touched by you. Now, ma'am, today's youngster has become victim of the scenario in which he or she is having degrees but not jobs. So how does the feature of vocational education help to reduce the gap between education and employment opportunities?
Very true. I did not, when I said because we'll be limiting certain things, only certain points I'm covering, I should have covered vocational education there itself, because this was lacking in our country, where all other countries are spending so much on GDP and so much of that part is spent on vocational education. For us, only 3% of GDP is like being spent on education. They've promised 6%, and there also I feel that need to, from the 6% also, I want the maximum to go to the vocational part, because right now we have good degrees, we have reputed institutions, but when it comes to fixing a fuse, most of the family members cannot do it. So maybe if it is vocational training that can help the youth of the country, and the gap between employability and degree holding will reduce, it will reduce considerably. I'll give you an example. If the father knows weaving and the child doesn't know, and obviously the weaving thing is not passed on in the family, after a decade or so, after 2 generations, the art is finished. And who's going to propagate? Nobody, because nobody is interested in that. So vocational training along with coding is a local combination, global as well as local. So that's a beautiful combination that they've come out with. I'm all praises for it.
Very beautifully put forth, ma'am. Another unique feature of NEP is integration of subjects.
Yeah.
Like the one who wants to study history with chemistry, now he has that option in this new NEP.
Yeah.
How do you see, or how can this integration of subjects is useful for students to tackle present life situations or the problems of present society?
I'm feeling J, capital J. I wasn't at that time, like, you know, where I could choose from a variety of things. I just had to go for that compartmentalized streaming of the subjects. I am happy that my kids, those who are studying now, whom I am mentoring or who are students right now, they'll have this opportunity, and maybe I'll live through them. I'll be attending I'll be seeing one child in chemistry class, and then in the music class, and then political science class. What a beautiful combination it is going to be, because, you know, the whole setup doesn't have to go in a particular way. If one psychology is my favorite subject, maybe I don't like physics, and maybe, like, you know, that combination, what I like, I can give my best in that. So I don't have to go by the pre-decided structures or the notions that this is this. And second best thing that it is going to do is that most of our students, you know, they just take subjects because of peer pressure, because science is not considered, arts is not considered, humanities is not considered. I'm saying from the society's point of view, not from my point of view, is not considered as intelligent as the other one. So that stigma of, okay, you're taking humanities is going to vanish now, and whatever I take, I can do the best is going to come out.
Yes, and indeed, let's hope students would enjoy more freedom through this.
They'll.
Now, ma'am, I would like to ask, do you think this NEP is a step in the direction of shift from quantity of marks to quality of education?
Okay, valid question. Putting my question mark there. Only if it is implemented in the right spirits. CCE came to us. It came somehow from here and there, some copy paste from here and there, and we could not do it as well. We had something like value based learning, we had OTB, open text based exams and all. Then we had to, like, you know, retrieve them, we have to take them back, we did certain changes again. So the whole process of CCE we could not implement that well. About this process of from rote learning to quality of marks, I am just keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that something happens very well, that it is executed well, so that we can really see the results of this.
Yes, ma'am. In the same context of effective implementation of NEP, I would like to ask you, what contribution can educators make to make this NEP a success story?
Yeah, that's another important question from this point of view, that anything that you bring new needs a lot of training, you know, it needs all stakeholders, not only teachers, not only the policy makers. The policy maker, if he's sitting only at the table and in the AC room and doesn't have any touch with the school, will not be able to formulate proper policies. Teachers who do not know what is the outcome of this will never be able to implement that in the spirit of the policy. So all stakeholders, right from the policy makers to the teachers to the leaders to the students to the parents and to the people who are going to really appoint them for the jobs, all those need to be trained in the right spirit, explaining the importance of each particular phrase that is given in the education policy. So best training is the only way out for this.
Indeed, nobody's role can be denied.
Nobody's role can be denied. Nobody's.
Last but not the least, how much revolutionary do you consider this step to make India or Bharat a Shikshit and Sabhyavan?
We were Shikshit long back also. In between we got distracted. I think in between we got somewhat off the track, and maybe because India is a huge country, millions of kids are there. Anything overnight is not possible. We'll have to wait. We'll have to see the implementation of this. We'll have to go stepwise. I welcome all the changes there. I just feel, and I just want to suggest from my last 25 years of experience, everything done in phases with proper guidance, with proper framework, with proper implications, keeping in mind the implications. If we go step by step, then obviously we are in the right direction, and every right step in the right direction is going to lead us further into the betterment of the country. We will be same as we were thousands of years back. All females equally educated as males, and all children totally educated, and that kind of India I can envision through this policy. Only the implementation has to be taken care of.
And we would again be call ourselves Vishguru.
Yeah, we will be.
How do you see this initiative of Kaushik Natya Nritya Academy to have more in-depth about NEP?
This is a welcome step that you people have done. I congratulate Kaushik Natya Nritya Academy for taking this initiative, because this policy has come, but making people aware about it, taking their opinion, and then passing on the feedback to the place where the policy has come back is again an important step that you people are taking. I really appreciate the efforts, and that's how the youth of the country is going to be looking for such kind of initiatives from you people.
Thanks a lot for your words of wisdom and valuable advice, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
This is Aarti Dagar, ma'am, who has clarified each and every aspect of NEP in a very crisp and in-depth manner. Thank you. To explore more secrets of NEP 2020, do subscribe and like our channel. And don't forget to connect to us for next interaction of Decoding NEP 2020 series. For now, that's all from my side. Thanks for watching and take care.